Hello everyone, welcome to my first television show episode review. Tonight I want to look at the Season 3 premiere of Gotham, titled Mad City, Better to Reign in Hell. Before I continue, I would like to warn everyone that these videos will be spoiler heavy, so before you watch these videos, please watch the episodes unless you want to be spoiled. So this episode begins almost exactly where last season left off, with Jim Gordon going to reunite with his former girlfriend, Lee Tompkins, who, as many remember last season, went away from Gotham because Gotham is a very dark and very bad place to live. And also, Jim Gordon, for a time last season, was locked in prison and she really needed to get away from the situation. But when he does track her down, he sees that she's already moved on, that she lives in a new home, she seemingly has a new boyfriend. So instead of making her life difficult, he decides to take the high road and return to Gotham. And that's when we flash forward 6 months later, 6 months after the end of last season. What this episode does is give us a nice foundation for where all the characters are now from where they were 6 months previously. Jim Gordon is still not with the GCPD. He is now become some type of bounty hunter who is hunting down all the escapees from the Indian Hill facility run by Dr. Hugo Strange, who is seemingly still on the run, or in hiding. Similar to Jim Gordon, the GCPD is still hunting down all those escapees as well. But they are getting a lot of pressure from the press, and that's where we get an introduction to a new character, played by Jamie Chung, Valerie Vale, who is actually a character straight from the comic book. She is the aunt of Vicky Vale, who is a romantic interest of Bruce Wayne in the comic books. The Penguin is still up to his old gangster-type ways, except now he's on the hunt for Fish Mooney. I love his scene when he just walks into the GCPD during the press conference and completely just takes over and lays down the law in terms of the severity of the situation, completely upstaging the GCPD in typical Penguin style. Harvey Bullock is still Jim Gordon's loyal friend. I really like the way they've developed their relationship over the first 2 seasons, really giving them a sense of kind of this best friend camaraderie, this loyalty to one another. You can see it when he asks Jim to come back to the force, and that's when they bring in Lucius Fox, who's now working for the GCPD after leaving Wayne Enterprises. It's a really funny scene where we see Donald Logue's great comedic timing. It's great to see Lucius Fox. I really hope they further expand on the character and really give the actor a bigger role, because Lucius Fox is a very interesting character. We've seen him from the comic books to the animated series. He was in the Christopher Nolan movies, so he is a relatively prominent character. Barbara Keene and Tabitha Gallivant are owners of a successful nightclub, and there's this great scene where these kind of muscle men come in and threaten them, and they just go completely badass on them and just take them out, showing that these 2 women are really people you don't mess with. Selina Kyle is still very much a character who moves around in a very gray area. Sometimes she's good, sometimes she's bad. I mean, in this episode, you saw her with the Indian Hill gang. You saw her at Barbara and Tabitha's nightclub. You see her try to help her friend Ivy, who gets herself in some trouble. Like I said earlier, Jim Gordon is on the hunt for the Indian Hill escapees, primarily for Fish Mooney, who is seemingly their leader, or at least the Penguin tells people that she is. But what is interesting about them is that they are slowly losing their special abilities because they don't have access to the scientific material that was available to them at Indian Hill. I find that to be a very interesting concept in the sense that these were very much experiments. They weren't final products. It was Hugo Strange doing just kind of these insane scientific things and seeing what would work and what wouldn't work. So I'm curious how that's going to play out further. I'm curious if we're going to get any type of real identification as to who some of these escapees are. I mean, we did see them in the episode, but none of them were given any names. I mean, there was one who some people have said is Killer Croc. There were others who said that there was another one who was a Man-Bat. But there was really no definition, and Gotham is really taking its own avenue when it comes to villains from the comic books, so we're not really sure what type of versions of these characters we're going to get. For me as a Batman fan, the most interesting aspects of this episode, and what really is a catalyst for, I hope, a really, really good story arc, is Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne, who at the end of last season found out that there's this mysterious group that's really running Wayne Enterprises. And that group is none other than the Court of Owls. Although they haven't been officially established as the Court of Owls, I think fans can kind of assume that they are. If you have read the New 52 Batman run by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, know is a fantastic story arc. If you haven't, I highly recommend reading it, even if you're not a comic book fan, because it is a great story. There's a great scene at the end of the episode which really leaves the episode on a cliffhanger, where a Court of Owls assassin manages to get into Wayne Manor and abducts Bruce Wayne. But before he does so, he has this kind of cool fight with Alfred, because this Alfred Pennyworth is not like the other incarnations where he's this very proper, very prim butler. This Alfred has military training, which I find to be completely fascinating. And I think the actor Sean Pertwee does a fantastic job with the character of Alfred Pennyworth. I have to say this, for a first episode of a season, it wastes no time with setting up the plot and moving it along. Like I just said with the Court of Owls, leaving the episode on a cliffhanger like that really prompts it to get to the next one. Even though most of the episode was just re-establishing connections with the characters where they are now, there was still enough plot in the episode to further it along, to set up new avenues. I was really, really impressed with their ability to do that. I believe the show has a better understanding of what it is, and it's fully embracing that. I like how the series has morphed from just being about Jim Gordon to being more of an ensemble piece. There's a lot of intertwining in terms of character interactions and plot lines, and I have to say the show is very good at doing that. All in all, I really, really enjoy this strong premiere episode. I can understand if some others don't, specifically those who don't like the show but are yet for some reason still watching. If you like this review, stick around, because I'm going to be doing several more episode reviews, not only for Gotham, but for Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and maybe Legends of Tomorrow.